And then we'll try and wrap this up.
I have a particular comment for Andy Thompson, actually, that, got you on the spot. It actually came up in conversation with somebody else yesterday. The hut in particular, which I've seen many variations of by now, and truly love every time I see it, how different would it be to simply move it outside of the gallery and into the empty space next to the gallery, and how much does that enrich and enlarge, and how does that change it, and what does that do to that whole Kantian thing, and how interesting would it be just to juxtapose those two possibilities next to each other?
Yeah, that's something I've thought a lot about with my own work, because I do have a big fondness for land art, and much of the work that Krauss talks about in the sculpture in the expanded field. I think for me, right now, when I make these sort of large structures, these domes of something, and there's an intimate space on the inside for someone to sort of get lost in and sort of have their own whimsical moment, regardless of actually looking at my sculpture. When they're in the sculpture, they're allowed to go somewhere else that's not really about me or about the work. It's a venue for, it's very much kind of about the poetics of space by Gaston Bachelard, where I'm just trying to create a venue for the viewer. And so in many ways it could exist. Ideally, wouldn't it be great if it could exist in the world where it is almost an architectural statement that allows a person to enter into, but it's a useless or a purposelessness space for people to sort of have their own musings. I think one concern for myself is I was one of the artists in the show that I even said to Kevin and Chris that I'm so glad you guys are interested in having the panel, having the catalog, because I really just want to, all I can deal with is making my work for the show. I'm so glad you guys are wanting this show to be a venue for something bigger to happen, because I can't deal with it right now, and that I just need to make the work. So in one regard, the gallery space is sort of a safe theoretical space or hypothetical space. Somebody said it earlier, that it's not a real space. And so I feel my work is trying to take advantage of that, and sort of scapegoating or avoiding this conversation. I would like for that to happen, but I don't know if
How interesting would it be to see it occupied by the throngs of homeless people that populate Pontiac?
Yeah, and could it have another function? When I was documenting the piece, there was a homeless fellow who was asking me what I was going to do with all the stuff in the window. I said, well, some of it's furniture from my house that I'm going to take back home and use. But he started asking me, what are you going to do with that TV? I could use a TV. He doesn't have a home, but maybe he could sell the TV. And so we sort of made a brief pact that, well, I'm going to deinstall the show at the end of November. If you're around, you take what you want. So that's not really what my art is about and how that's useful to other people. Really, it's useful because of the aesthetic. That's my goal. But yeah, if this, can that work be a venue for something that's not necessarily art related? Art with the ART, but could it still be the aesthetic experience in this sort of ideal world where we don't have specialized fields where I am an artist, I went to school for art, and I get paid to make my art, but we are all creative people, and everything in the world is meaningful and beautiful. Whether or not it's visually pretty does not necessarily mean it's beautiful. So yes, that's something I think about, and I don't know, but for me it's very much the gallery space. I try to use it as that hypothetical space.